All right, guys. How's everyone doing? Good morning. So, October 13th, Wednesday. One second. Okay, so October 13th, Wednesday. We have some important things on the calendar today. So, real quick, I'll just pull this up. Why not start the stream with this? It is at 8:30 today. We have our CPI data that will be coming out. The expectations is a 0.3, and then the previous was 0.1. So they're expecting a small increase there in the core CPI. That's going to be important. We'll see what they talk about inflation. We'll see the inflation number. That will be coming out, and we'll be here live for that. So we'll see how that affects the market. On top of that, as we talk right now, we have earnings that are coming out. So we had JP Morgan, BlackRock, and then who's the last one? JP Morgan, BlackRock, and Delta reported earnings this morning. We'll run through all those earnings together today. And then finally, we have the FOMC minutes that is released at 2 o'clock. That will once again have an effect on the market. So a very interesting day. A lot of stuff to come out. And is this the day that you should be, going all in on your account with all of these macroeconomic things going on, all these external events affecting the market? I would probably say no. So this is a good day to sit, relax, watch. Maybe if you don't want to, sort of mess around with a lot of this volatility. Or we could see a very nice day to either direction. If we start to see a trend to either direction, that's really what I want to see. I just want to see a trend. So we'll see what happens today. 8:30 CPI data in about 27 minutes. We'll be here for it. And then 2 o'clock later today, FOMC minutes. Both of these should have an effect on the market. So we shall see what happens. So that's that. Let's go ahead and... we'll take a second for some more people to jump in. We'll start at 8:05 here with the calendar. But so yesterday was a very slow day on the overall market. If you guys watched the NASDAQ futures, you saw that it was a very ugly and slow day. Just like sort of flat and slowly down, and just really didn't do much. Except there was a lot of pressure and a lot of strength on a few individual names. So you had... let's go ahead and run through a few of these. I'll just run through a few of the ones that I remember as of today, as of right now, that were pretty strong yesterday. So you had Tesla. That was pretty strong yesterday. Pretty strong move on Tesla, even though the market wasn't doing much. Of course, Upstart. Very strong move on Upstart without the market. Affirm bounced back very nicely. I remember we had Etsy, which was a nice move. Look at this move on Etsy yesterday. Very strong. Very continuous grind higher. We had this, what was it? It was like a box. What was that stock? There was a stock that reported, there was a stock that talked about a new payment system yesterday. I forgot what it was. It went up like $100 a share. If anyone remembers, let me know. But we had a lot of individual names start to move higher yesterday. SOFI was another one that did very well yesterday. SOFI hitting highs in the pre-market right now. So the point I'm trying to get across by showing you guys this is that it's starting to seem like there's a lot of individual names, individual stocks that are having great days. It's not a Mark Plug also moved, yes. It's not a whole market-wide move, and that makes it a little bit more difficult. It's a stock-specific type move on the market. Hubs, thank you. Yes, Hubs. GVH went up. It was that energy stock, or GHV, what is it? GVH. It's not there, But yeah, definitely Hubs. Hubs, this thing was nuts. Hubs went from 700 to 814. This is HubSpot. They went ahead and announced a launch of a new, payment system. Payments end-to-end payment solutions. So basically the point, I'm not going to get into all these specific stocks, but the point I'm trying to get across is that this market looks to be getting a little bit more stock specific, and finding the right moves could be paying off. It's not like, okay, the entire NASDAQ GWH. That's what it was. The entire NASDAQ's moving up, and everything across the board, Apple, Nvidia, Google, Facebook, everything's going to move together. That was how it was about, I don't know, 4 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. That's what we were seeing. We were seeing the entire market move, and every single tech stock would move up with it. Now it's a little bit more stock specific, which does make it a little bit more difficult. So that's what I'm seeing as of right now. It is 8:06, so let's go ahead and start with the schedule here. So futures, as always, NASDAQ, Dow, S&P. Economic calendar. We sort of already did, so I showed you that in the morning. So CPI data, FOMC minutes today. We'll take a look at JP Morgan, Dow, which is Delta Airlines, and BlackRock. BlackRock's actually pretty interesting. I think we've looked at BlackRock on this stream before, and I really like the setup. CRM is down there at the bottom, so we'll do that. But yeah, BlackRock looking good. I want to show you that. Upstart, huge Upstart move. Congratulations to anyone that caught that. This thing is straight from here. I mean, if you guys were in yesterday's live stream, if you were in the live stream before that, you guys saw the analysis that we did on Upstart and could have taken that as well. So huge Upstart move. SOFI, I want to show you some key levels on SOFI today. It's approaching some very key levels. Tesla holds up very nicely. CRM, you guys know, I was very big on CRM, on the retest. I've been on, I made YouTube videos about it. I made a live stream about it, and I was in it, and I got stopped out. My stop was just a little bit too tight, and my patience was just not there. But if we look at CRM now, this was a beautiful trade. Now, the option contract that I had, the premium is not that much higher than where I sold it for, or where I even entered. I think it's like $50 higher. So I would be up like $50 on the position right now. So I still think there's opportunity there. The way that it moved, it was a little bit slower, a little bit longer than I expected. So I want to show you guys CRM. I still think this looks good. It awarded patience. It's a very clean trade. The setup worked perfectly. So I know, I say this a lot to my people in the Discord. Even if you get stopped out of position, you take a small profit, you take a small loss. If you continue to track the chart and it does exactly what you were expecting, which CRM at this very moment is doing exactly what we expected, then you're looking at the right things. And that's definitely a good thing to take away from a trade. If you look at the right thing, it doesn't work out, maybe you manage it wrong. Maybe you manage the trade side of it wrong, because there's two different things, right? There's doing the analysis, and then there's actually executing the trade and being able to execute a clean trade, managing it correctly, keeping emotions out of it. So if you saw the right trade technically, if your analysis were held up, but you just sort of failed on the execution side, then you have to remember, what you're looking at is right, and you can't get discouraged from trading, even if you just manage the trade side wrong, because your analysis was correct, and that is a good thing to take away. So that is something I've taken away from CRM. Analysis was spot on. Next, BABA. Want to show you BABA has pulled back to a very interesting level. So I want to show you that today. And that will be it for me, and then we'll get into the members tickers. So let's go ahead and start with the NASDAQ. Before we do, I'm going to quickly blow my nose because I'm all stuffed up again today. 1 second. All right. Maybe I should make like a allergy break on the stream. All right, so here is MicroStrategy is up $200. Yeah, we can take a look at micro. All right, so here's NASDAQ, guys. And let's go ahead and start with the daily chart. So here's the daily chart on the NASDAQ right here. And we can see that, yes, we have been on this very nice uptrend that has formed. we're having a little bit of trouble to hold above the 100 SMA. That's something I'm a little bit concerned of, right? So 100 SMA, a little bit concerned of that. I want to see us get back above that. So right there, that is at 14,767. That's about 40 points higher than where we are right now. So we'll see. 40 points higher from where we are right now would be a nice reclaim of the 100 SMA. So keep an eye on that. 20 SMA to the downside is Arctic the volatility, yeah, is the resistance that I would be watching as well. If we break this down to the 4-hour chart, we will be able to see this uptrend a little bit better. It's not much of an uptrend, but it's something there. It's a higher low. So the higher low has continued to form here. So right here, 1, 2, 3, nice higher lows have formed here on the NASDAQ on the 4-hour chart. So I want to keep an eye on that. This breakout above 15K, I think, would be crucial here for a move on the NASDAQ. So this is still the same thing. We're still looking at a very similar NASDAQ here. Uptrend, higher lows. If we get some type of move, if we get some type of, if FOMC is very hawkish and the CPI data is showing high inflation, maybe we lose this uptrend. And if we lose this uptrend, I think we see more downside. Unfortunately, we need to hold this uptrend to see more upside. So this is what I'd be looking at, guys. If you're looking at the NASDAQ, keep an eye on this here, this uptrend, this higher low, and keep an eye on this 15,000 resistance. That's really what I'll be eyeing today. So in the very short term, if I go to the 5-minute, yeah, it could be a bear flag. I mean, it could be, yeah, exactly. If I go to the 4-minute chart or the 5-minute chart, you guys can see here were yesterday's highs. So we definitely are making lower highs as the days go on, right? I mean, look at this. You have Friday of last week, right around 15K. Monday, 14.9. We have yesterday, the high was around 14.780, 14.8, just around. And then today in the pre-market, the high is around 14.730. So this is the last 4 days, and we can see that the lower highs continue to come in as we pull back to this longer-term uptrend right here. So you can see the uptrend that is on the 4-hour chart is right here. So it's not, it's hard to say, guys. This is not a extremely bullish or it's not an extremely bearish situation, in my opinion. So the market's just been very undecided, in my opinion. Just a very sideways type movement. For the most part, you have to believe that you are in a downtrend. That is definitely clear. So if you just take the fact that we're in this downtrend, then yes, this could be still very bearish, but I'm just trying to see if there's any signs of potential hold, and it looks like there are some. So take it with a grain of salt. Take this little bounce with a grain of salt. Let's see what happens today. Does it start to push through 15,000? Or, do we start to get the break of this uptrend? That's what I'll be watching. Yeah, CAR, unbelievable stock. Avis Budget Group, CAR. I mean, why is CAR up from $6 in March of 2020? It's absolutely unreal. So yeah, that's a crazy one. So here is the S&P 500, and the S&P 500 actually sort of looks like an inverse head and shoulders to me. You guys let me know what you see, but I see a left shoulder, a head, I know it's a little bit sloppy, and a right shoulder here. And if we get an inverse head and shoulders on the S&P and hold this very nice neckline here at 43.20, I think this is pretty bullish, actually. I think this is a sign of a reversal. A sign of an inverse head and shoulders at times can be a sign of a reversal. So I want to see if this holds. Does this S&P 500 inverse head and shoulders start to hold here? You guys can see it right there. If that holds, if we hold 43.20, I think there is a shot that we try to break this downtrend. That's the big downtrend on the ES. You guys can see it. It's rejected multiple times. 1, 2, 3. Rejection at this downtrend. And I'm going to want to see a break through this to get a move higher. So that's what I'll be watching on the ES. This big downtrend is going to be crucial. Break through that is going to be crucial. And then, a hold at 43.20. Inverse head and shoulders. You definitely want to see this hold at 43.20. You can see it right here. Right there. 1, 2. You want to see this hold. If you start to break through this, this 43.20, you're going to be coming back down to these lows really quickly, and that is probably not the most bullish case for us to move back down to this 42.70 area. So that's what I'll be watching on the ES. And then finally, the strongest one, which has been the Dow. Here's the daily chart, and the Dow has been just sort of trading. If I go to the 4-hour chart, the Dow has sort of just been trading off this 33,500 level. You guys can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, multiple touches at 33,500, and then resistance up here around 35,000. And that's really what the Dow has been doing, right? So just sort of consolidating in this little range. This is about a 500-point range for the Dow. So very big range for the Dow. Actually, no, that's more than 500 points. What is this at? 33,500. That's a 1,500-point range. So big range here for the Dow. Very, support down at 33.5 and resistance up here at 35. Trading the Dow in between this area is very difficult. You don't see, there's no trends, there's no structures. It's just sort of up, down, up, down. So we'll have to see how bank earnings, that will definitely affect the Dow. So today, tomorrow, and through the end of this week, we have bank earnings. That will affect where the Dow goes. We also have UNH reporting earnings. That is on, UNH is on Thursday, tomorrow morning. So UNH will most definitely affect where the Dow moves. So we'll have to keep an eye on those earnings for this Dow. All right, guys, so that's the futures. We're not really making much, not many changes here on the futures contracts on the overall market in the last, in day over day. So we'll just have to continue to watch what happens today. Let's go ahead and look at JP Morgan this morning. So JP Morgan, you know what? This might be easier just to see. Let me see if they got the articles up. They do. So here's JPM. Let's take a look at what JPM said today. Let's take a look at their, where is my, I lost my, here we go. All right, so JPM, what'd they say? Here are the numbers. So 3.74 per share versus 3, so they beat top line. They beat bottom line, and they also beat top line revenue. So they beat on both sides, JP Morgan. You have to probably read a little bit more into it for some other information, but top and bottom line they beat. I don't want to take, this whole entire live stream reading through this stuff. Fixed income revenue dropped. Company-wide revenue rose 2%. The asset wealth management division posted 21% increase in revenue. So I'm sure there's a lot more to read, guys. So just do that on your own time. I would like to see what Jamie Dimon had to say about inflation and all that kind of stuff. But let's see the reaction on the stock, right? So the reaction on the stock as of right now looks like they beat top and bottom line. Let's go to the 1-minute chart. So we can see it is up. It's up $1 per share. Not much here in the pre-market. A little bit of a move higher. We'll have to see what CPI does to banks. That's going to be a big one. CPI definitely, and then FOMC minutes will also have an effect on bank stocks. But if we look at the hourly chart here on JPM, we know that JPM was moving into highs, all-time highs into earnings. So I'm not surprised to see a little bit of a pullback before earnings. If we maybe can hold this 20 SMA here, which is right around 163, if we get any pullback, that could be a very nice hold. We sort of have this uptrend. If you ignore this little dip through, this little uptrend here, if we were to pull back to the 20 SMA and that uptrend, I think that's actually a fantastic entry if you get a pullback on JPM today. But you have 167. That was your previous highs. We're pulling back below it. So at this point, guys, I think you got to watch that 167 previous high. You guys can see if we go to the hourly chart, you can see how we're starting to find some resistance at this level. So right here, you have some resistance here at this green area, at this supply area, and that is because if you go to the 4-hour chart, you can see that was some previous highs here. So let's keep an eye on that 167, 168 area, see if JPM can get back above. If not, maybe it fails here. Delta reported earnings this morning as well. Delta Airlines post profits thanks to stronger travel demand, but rising fuel prices will squeeze quarter four bottom line. So fuel costs, we all know that. We know fuel costs are going up. So that is actually very interesting. So 30 cents versus 17 cents on the bottom line, and then top line 9.1 versus 8.4. So beating top and bottom line. But of course, there's going to be headwinds for them with the price of gas. So we'll see how that affects Delta today. XLF is a good way to play. JP Morgan. It's a big part of XLF. All right, so let's go to the 1 minute chart on Delta. Looks like the stock is getting a little bit of a push lower. I'm sure it's sort of along with all the other airlines. So Love has been beat up lately because of their stuff that's going on. So Delta, a little bit of a move lower. Nothing really. We'll have to see what today brings. Here's the daily chart. You guys can see we started to get a push higher on the airlines. There was some positivity around the airlines after I think it was JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley, said that they were very bullish on airlines as a comeback. So we'll see what happens. It's sort of rejected, all of this congestion here on the daily chart. A lot of congestion in this area, a lot of previous resistance, all up here. So it sort of makes sense to see it start to reject. So we'll see. Can it hold the 20 SMA? What happens today on Delta? Beat on top and bottom line, worth watching. Finally, BlackRock, BLK. And BLK is one that actually is interesting me. It is up very nicely in the pre-market. We can see here, nice little pop off earnings. Live news, we can see they bought back $300 million in stock. Assets under management up 21%. Beat the top line revenue, $5 billion versus 4.3, and then beat bottom line EPS 10.8 versus 8.8. So they beat everywhere, and I sort of like the fact that BlackRock has been pulled back to this previous structure point. It looks like we've looked at this before. If BlackRock can start to bounce off of this structure point, this could be a nice little play here. So keep an eye on BlackRock today. Very nice earnings. Let's see what happens. We have about 7 minutes until CPI data, so we'll just keep running through here. I want to go ahead and show you guys some SOFI levels to keep an eye out for. So I'm going to delete these lines and we're going to redo them together so that you guys understand why I'm looking at them. So levels I'd be watching on SOFI, guys. If you are in SOFI, I would be watching some of these previous highs. This previous high here is 1955. So right around this 1950 to 1960 area, this whole range I would be watching. So anywhere between 1950 and 20, because 20 is going to be a psychological level. Anywhere from 1950 to 20, I would be watching. Why? Because you have previous highs back here from March, and you also have that psychological 20 resistance. So be careful of 20. After 20, I would be watching some of these highs over here. You have some 21s. This 21 is this little gap area, so I'd watch the 21 right there. After the 21, I think if you actually are able to get through 21, I think you get a pretty big move up towards these highs. So maybe around the 23s, maybe around the 24s. So right in this area. So those are some levels I'd be watching. I think this 20, I think the psychological 20 level is going to be big. If we get to it, I think that'll be a big psychological breakout. So we'll see if we get to that. If we do, I would assume you start to try to test these previous highs up here between 23 and 24. So we'll see what happens. SOFI on a very nice move. Congratulations to anyone that's got into this. Just a beautiful hold down here at these previous lows. Really nice consolidation, and you're getting that push off. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, to see, I've seen this type of move before. You get the move, and then you come right back down. It's happened plenty of times. It could happen again. What's different between, this move here versus this move here? Maybe it's earnings. Maybe this is an earnings play. You have earnings in November. You have November 10th. You have earnings. Maybe SOFI could be one of those things that starts to move crazy off earnings. So I would watch it. I think it's interesting. I like its sector. I like the fintech sector. So I think we watch it. So that's SOFI. Keep an eye on some of those levels. Next, Tesla. Actually, no. What are we on? Not on Tesla. We're on Upstart. So Upstart, guys, let's take a look at it. Upstart. So we were here in the live stream yesterday talking about, we basically didn't have this candle here yet, right? And we were just talking about the breakout. So huge breakout. Congratulations, guys, if you got this. Awesome breakout here on Upstart. Just contracts were pumping. The money was flowing in. So congratulations here on Upstart. Nice breakout. Now, today, can we get more upside? Let's go to the 1 minute chart. So we're getting a nice push here in the pre-market. We're at new highs here in the pre-market, higher than yesterday. So that's great to see. It's a little bit difficult to spot levels to watch, to be honest. It's a little bit difficult. There are some candles over in this area, and this is really the levels I've been watching around this 340, 341. I think 341. Starting at 341 and basically going to highs is going to be a very interesting area. So 346.54, yeah, is that all-time high right in this area. 346.54, 346. So of course that'll be the all-time high there. But if I delete this downtrend, I think this next level around 341 is going to be the next very tough test. So let's see. Do we get to 341 today? If we do, do we then push to 346? Those are the two levels I'd be watching today on Upstart. However, just looking at this chart, it really doesn't concern me. I really do believe this looks like it's ready to go. I mean, this looks very strong in my opinion. Little inverse head and shoulders. I actually just noticed that. That's incredible right there. Head, left shoulder, right shoulder. Inverse head and shoulders is a reversal line, is a reversal sign. And that chart looks very strong in my opinion. So, Upstart made this huge move. It consolidated. Maybe it does it again. If it does, I'm in for it. So that is Upstart, and we'll see what happens today. Keep an eye on the 341s and 346s. Keep an eye on those levels. All right. Real quick, before we get... Actually, you know what? Let's get ready for CPI data. So after CPI data comes out, we'll do Tesla, CRM, BABA, and then some of the stuff you guys want to look at. So let's go ahead and... maybe it's Maybelline. Let's go ahead and pull up the NASDAQ here. Here's the NASDAQ, guys. Actually, you know what? Let's just do both. NASDAQ, ES, charts. Let's go 1 minute. It's going to look a little bit ugly, this one. That's all right. Here's the ES, 1 minute. And let's see what happens here. So we'll try to get the data as soon as possible. If you guys get the data, feel free to post it in the chat. All right, we got about 10 seconds here till 8:30. Let's take a sip of coffee. And remember, the first move is not always the move that holds up. So maybe you see some upside, maybe you see some downside, but overall, we got to see where this thing actually continues to. So, looks like we had a pullback. Now we're getting a push higher. Just a lot of volatility right now. A lot of volatility. I'm just waiting to see if I get the report somewhere. Breaking news. What do we got? Let's see. Anyone got the numbers yet? Here, I actually got it right here. Yeah, CPI, month over month. So, actual 0.4 versus 0.3 previous, estimated 0.3. So, very nominal. It's basically, no gain. I mean, it's what it was expected, right? It's off by 0.1%. So, all right. That's interesting. We'll see what the market reacts to that. I mean, right now, not really much overall, but at least not like it's hotter by 0.1. I don't know if they'll really I don't think that'll be too concerning. A 0.1, maybe. I would assume it wouldn't be too worrisome. So here is the market reaction right now, guys. Nothing really. Up, down, up, down. And we'll just have to see how this plays out. So I'm not going to sit here the whole live stream. I don't want to waste your time. But this is what you are getting right now. Just nothing really. You guys can see here, CPI actual 0.4 versus 0.3 with an estimate of 0.3%. So now I think you worry about FOMC. That's it. Now FOMC. So I think maybe that's what the market's waiting on. Trade sideways today? Yeah, we probably will. You're probably right. It rose 5.4. Where at? We got a rise of 0.1 month over month. All right, so that's 5.4 versus 5.3 estimate. Let's go ahead and see. No, yeah, it seems pretty nominal. There it is. Consumer Price Index rose 5.4 year over year in September versus 5.3 estimate. I see that. So, all right. Well, we'll see how this goes. But as of right now, not much of a move here on the market due to CPI data. We'll see. You guys can keep me updated as we continue through this schedule here. So SOFI we did. Tesla. Let's go ahead and clean this chart up. We already did JP Morgan earnings. You guys can check it out yourself now, just real quick. I mean, JP Morgan not moving much on earnings, beat bottom and top and bottom line. We sort of went through it already on the stream. If you want to sort of rewind this, you can. So here's Tesla, guys. And one thing very interesting, this hold on Tesla. I mean, we've talked about this in the past. The price action on Tesla is so interesting lately. It's just very strange to me. It's very consistently higher. It sort of feels, I mean, it's not a traditional Tesla move. Very interesting. So yesterday was no exception. We got another little grind higher, just a continuous move higher here until we sort of cracked later in the day. And today we're moving up. So it's this is an interesting and very difficult chart to know what the next day brings, because it's just a very choppy move higher, like extremely choppy. I have a very hard time understanding, what Tesla may do intraday. It's very difficult, in my opinion, to know, to trust Tesla and to know, what's the next move. At this point, I think 820, the previous resistance in the 820s, is where I think Tesla maybe starts to lose. But it's just like, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say here. I mean, this is strange. It's very strange. I've never seen a stock move like this. I mean, look at these candles. It's like, I don't know. You don't usually see candles like this. Let me take, for example, let me go to I don't know. Let's go to the daily chart on, these are the daily charts that you see, or daily candles. They're like sort of full. Tesla's like very choppy. I don't know. I think you guys understand what I'm saying. Look at all these wicks that are coming in. It's like, it's very difficult for Tesla to hold an intraday move. So you get all these wicks that come in on Tesla, which makes it very difficult to trade when you have such large wicks intraday, because you'll think it's moving one way, and then you'll get, some crazy volatility intraday that just sort of screws you. So interesting move yesterday. I mean, here's this. Look at this price action yesterday. I mean, it was up. I mean, basically, almost the entire day, Tesla really didn't move anywhere, right? It just sort of, the overall delta of yesterday was like, I don't know, like a few dollars. But, look at how much volatility there was intraday. And then you have this move lower at end of day. So interesting. You get a move higher today. I would be careful trusting this today, especially with a lot of the news going on. Just watch the 813 highs into today. Like a ghost is supporting it on that trend line every time. Yeah. So let's see. That's Tesla. 813 today. Let's keep an eye out for it. But an interesting hold. It continues to move higher. So it's an interesting. It's almost like it's rewarding shareholders. That's what it's rewarding, right? It's rewarding the people that just are holding Tesla shares, like myself, like you guys probably as well. Traders are having a tough time. I think it's a little bit difficult to trade it. People, I'm sure, are doing it, but it's been difficult at times. But someone who's just holding the shares, they're totally fine. This thing continues to grind higher. I don't need to really worry about the intraday volatility. So that's that. CRM. Let's go ahead and look at CRM. Got some stuff going on here in the breaking news. Russia's Putin says oil price of $100 per barrel is quite possible. Russian Putin says OPEC does everything to stabilize oil market. U.S. Treasury yields move higher after CPI data. So it looks like the 10 year is moving higher. Says we do not want oil prices to skyrocket. All right, so we got some news coming out here with oil. That might be what's hurting the market. What's oil doing right now? Just a little bit of volatility. Putin's talking about oil right now, so let's be careful here. Treasury yields look like they're increasing right now to 1.57. So keep that in mind. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a pullback here in the market. So those treasury yields are at 1.57 now. I just got that breaking news alert there. All right, so CRM. On the daily chart, looks absolutely gorgeous. If I show you this on the daily chart, this is what we were watching. You guys know this. We were watching these previous highs. We were looking to see if it can hold. And unfortunately for me, I went ahead and got stopped out of this under 268, 267, I think. And this stock on this day right here, this is when I got stopped out, is on the 4th of October. This thing spiked down past my stop loss, but did not break the 20 SMA. So if looking back at this trade, I think what I could have done better is use the 20 SMA as my stop, because you can see CRM never failed that 20 SMA. That was a very nice hold there. So CRM ended up holding these previous highs, sort of curling up higher, and now you're up towards the 280s. A very, very clean move here on CRM. I would love to see this thing continue. A beautiful break, a retest, a hold of previous highs, and a beautiful move higher. Congratulations to anyone that is in this one. I still think this looks like a great opportunity. By no means is CRM done here. So I would keep an eye on CRM, see if this thing holds this previous high, see if it continues to push. I love to see that break and retest. So that's CRM. BABA. So BABA, you guys know we took a nice BABA trade, and this is what I want to show you on BABA. So we had the gap up on BABA. We caught that. I caught the gap up here. I was in this trade for the gap up. My video yesterday, you guys can see that trade that I took if you want to watch it. But after the gap up, there was not much strength. There was not a gap and go, right? We didn't have the go. We had the gap, but we did not have the go here for BABA. We've pulled back. And where have we pulled back to? We've pulled back to close that gap. And I really like to see that. You can see we have perfectly closed that gap, and we held support there all day yesterday. So if BABA continues to hold this gap, if the Asian market continues to potentially find some upside, maybe BABA can hold up here. But of course, that's going to depend on the market. We'll see what happens with the NASDAQ. We'll see what happens with the Asian markets. But this is potentially a very nice support level on BABA. If you missed this original gap up, this thing just pulled back and filled that gap very nicely. So definitely watch the 162.50 area on BABA, guys. So that's BABA. That is what I wanted to show you there. Now, if you guys are if you guys are a member of the channel, If you are a member of my live streams, the YouTube channel, if you're not, you can press that join button down below. But if you are, check out the link in the chat. That is a Google Docs link, and you can go ahead and put the tickers you want me to look at today. So right now, I have two for you guys. I have Oracle and Adobe. So Oracle and Adobe from YT, and who's this one from? I'm not sure who this one's from, but Adobe. Yeah, and before we get into that, guys, if you could be so kind, we have 670 people here. If you could press the like button for me if you're enjoying this live stream. It really helps a lot. It's free. It helps. It keeps me going, keeps me motivated, keeps YouTube to recommend my content to other people. So I would really appreciate that if you could. If you enjoyed it, press the like button, subscribe if you could. Yeah, a little bit of a pullback on the NASDAQ. I see that in the corner of my eye here. So let's go ahead and look at these members, the members stocks. So the first one up is Oracle, ORCL. Maybe I'll look at a firm as well after this. So Oracle, I'm really liking this move. You can see it's a very nice stair-stepping move. You guys can see on the daily chart, very nice move on Oracle. However, if you're not in Oracle right now, I think you need to be patient. Unfortunately, I think you need to wait and be a little bit patient here and wait for a pullback back towards the 91.90 area, right back towards here. I think you're going to get it. If you're patient, I really do believe that you're going to get this pullback. If you get this pullback, look for the opportunity to purchase this thing because you can see the last time it pulled, look at this pullback right here. So broke through, pulled back. This was a beautiful entry right here off these previous highs. And you bet that if this thing pulls back to 91s, 92s, it's going to find some really solid support at these previous highs. So Oracle, I would wait for the pullback here to 91, 92. That would be my entry there. Is that for YT? Yeah, YT. I'd watch that right there. I think that's the perfect entry. Adobe. Adobe's has been starting to hold up nicely. We talked about this one multiple times. Filled the gap, starting to push higher off the gap. And at this point, it's just a matter of going to some shorter term time frames here and seeing if this thing can hold up. So right here, we have the gap fill. We're getting the bounce. Maybe you can use this trend line here as your reference. If that thing can hold that trend line, maybe that's a good sign. And then maybe if it can break above these previous highs, right in this area, around this 586. If it can break these previous highs, hold this trend line, start to create a little bit of an ascending triangle, then I think you get your breakout. So for Adobe, if you're in what are you in? You're in a 10-15 585 call. A little bit short expiration, but it's looking like it's, I would probably look to get rid of those today or tomorrow, to be quite honest. Preferably today, because you're going to start getting hit with, the theta is going to start killing those contracts. You're basically getting to expiration. So if you do not get this 586 breakout today, I would look to potentially get rid of those. It's up to you, of course. It's not financial advice. You could definitely, maybe you want to hold those until expiration. Maybe you get in the money and you exercise them. I'm not sure your plan. But be careful. Those options are expiring soon. You're going to want to see a move today. If you don't get a move today on Adobe, those contracts are going to slowly bleed out. So that's Adobe. You want to see that 586 breakout. Real quick, I'll go over a firm because I've been looking at it and I want to show you guys it. So here's a firm. Here's the hourly chart, and it's just a crazy. A firm's crazy. A firm's created so many opportunities. Yesterday, it pulled right back to this previous 132 level, held this multiple times, 1, 2, 3, and all you needed to do was to know that firm was pulling back to this crucial level in order to take a trade on it, right? Look at the pullback right here in the morning. I mean, it was perfect pullback. Pulled back right into that previous support, and boom, there's your trade. Continue to watch this level, guys, on a firm. Continue to watch that 131. Before it was 131, it was 108, 109. So right here, this was the previous bottom that it was holding. You guys can see right here. Moved back towards this level multiple times. Every single time it bounces from this level. Now it looks like it's the 131 level, which it's no coincidence, was previous highs, right? So this is just a really clean stair-stepping chart. Every single time it comes back to previous highs, it holds support. You guys can see that. Previous highs, hold support. Previous highs, hold support. Now you just want to try to see, can you get that next leg higher? You need that next leg higher. So that's a firm. All right, so NASDAQ, let's see, what are we looking at here? We're looking at just a little bit of a pullback. Yesterday's lows down here, definitely just don't want to see us break below yesterday's lows. That's really the most important. So we'll see how much we chop around here. Let's see what today brings. Remember, FOMC minutes today at 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock Eastern. That's going to be crucial. So be safe out there, guys. This might not be the day to, put all your eggs in one basket. Be a little bit safe. Play conservative. This is I want to leave you with this, because I actually made a pretty interesting analogy to my buddy yesterday. I played poker yesterday, and he was asking about the market. He was saying, how's the market been? How you been doing? And I told him that the market right now, and it's sort of made an analogy to playing blackjack. And the market right now it's like going onto a cold table on blackjack, a table is cold, that people are getting screwed on. Dealers getting 21, you're getting shit cards. So you're going onto a table that is cold, and you're doubling down on you're doubling down on your 11, you're doubling down on a 10, you're splitting your aces when the dealer maybe has a 9 or a 10, right? So it's like you're going onto a cold blackjack table and you're doubling down. That's what I was saying that a lot of people are not understanding, is that going into this market and going full size like you did before, going full size, putting a lot of money on these plays that are very questionable at right now, is almost like going onto a cold blackjack table and doubling down. And that's, I think right now in the market, I think the key is to know when to throttle off, is when to take the little bit of gas off the pedal, pull your foot back a little bit, and make sure you know when to throttle your aggressiveness. Because I think, and that's at least what I'm doing right now, guys. I mean, my position sizes have not been huge, but I don't see anything wrong with that. I think I'm doing the right thing, in my personal opinion. I think throttling off the position sizes a little bit is the correct thing to do in the market. I know the table's cold. I'm not putting in big bets. Let's say if we're at the casino, maybe the minimum's a $10 bet at the blackjack table. I'm putting the minimum in. I'm doing the minimum bets. I'm keeping, I'm being careful. And that's sort of how I can compare this market to blackjack for anyone that enjoys blackjack, which I do myself. So I think the table's still cold. When the table's hot, I'll make sure to call you guys over and give you a little bit of a signal saying table's hot. Let's go ahead and start milking this market out of some money. But I think right now the table is still cold, and you really need to focus on risk management the same way you would focus on your betting when you're on a cold table in blackjack. So that's how I can portray this market in a little bit of a more understanding way. Hopefully that makes sense to you. And with that, if you like that, press the like button. And I hope that you guys have a great trading day. And I hope to see you in the next live stream. So let's see if we can get to 300 likes before the end of this video. That would be awesome. It's so right now. Be careful is the word of the day. I agree, Chef Joe. Congratulations on Upstart, Chef Joe. I don't know why you're still a chef, man. You made some crazy money. Now you can just be a chef for leisure, not for work, hopefully. When do you think it might get hot? I would say I'm thinking maybe end of November into December. Maybe after some of these earnings comes out. Maybe mid-November, like around mid-November, late November, once we have all this earnings. We'll see. It's impossible for me to say that. So it's just a matter of taking this day by day. Right now, you need to take you need to take the market day by day. All right, like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.